So real quick, while everybody's enjoying the food, I want to dig in a little bit into omakase. So Daniel, could you tell us a little bit more about that concept? I know just a little bit of background that it's traditionally associated with kind of this higher end cuisine. So can you tell us a little bit more about it and why that's your main staple at Shokunin? And
Okay. So omakase means to trust a chef. I know a lot of people nowadays like kind of think of it as high end. Originally, it wasn't meant to be high end sushi. It was just basically it was made so that the chef can decide what's fresh that season, and just pick out the freshest ingredients and make it his way, rather than everybody eating the same thing. Because usually, if you go to a sushi restaurant, most people are just getting a bunch of salmon sushi or tuna sushi or whatever they like. So they never really get a chance to try other things. Um, Also, fish, there's seasons for all fish. We fly in fish from basically all over the world. We're always researching, trying to figure out new ways to prepare it, new fish to bring in. We have a wide variety. Of course, right now, because due to the coronavirus, there's a lot less variety of fish coming in, but we still get fresh fish from all over.
awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
So I am very interested in just hearing a little bit more about your background. So what made you first get interested in the food space? What made you start your restaurant? And why the name Shokunin?
So I started around 13 years ago. Honestly, when I first started, it was just like a little part-time job, making some side money. But as I got into it, I just really fell in love with, the food, the art, just everything about sushi. It's just so meticulous, so detailed. It's not something you can just, walk into a kitchen and make. So I kind of made it a mission to learn everything about it. But the more I learned, the more I realized there's really no end. With sushi, there's so many ingredients, so many different ways to prepare, so many different ways to do everything. There's just you can't really ever learn it all. So that's why I came up with the name Shokunin. Shokunin means like craftsman, or artisan, or a master of his craft. And it's I chose that name not because I am there. I chose that name because that should be the goal of all sushi chefs. So me and my team at Shokunin, we're always trying new things. We're always trying to teach each other new things. It's just, it's a process.
That's awesome. So speaking of just always learning about it, I know I'm a closet. I like to pretend that I'm a sushi chef, and I know there's other people out there that want to also learn how to make it. I know you shared a little bit about how you guys have a little bit of classes that you have. Can you tell us more about how attendees can reach out to you or take a class?
Our classes are super basic. It's like a kind of tutorial class. I don't get into any specific details or anything like that. Basically, what we do is we create these little kits that we can either deliver to you or you can
Mm-hmm.
pick up, and it just has your essentials: a couple fish, a lot of vegetables, rice, seaweed, some sauces, things like that. And then we come in a Zoom chat just like this one, and we go through just making a couple different things, just to have fun. I'll teach you how to make the nigiri. I'll teach you how to make a roll, hand rolls, things like that. And you just make it at home with your family, with your friends. Just have fun doing it. If you want to order the tickets, right now we're not selling too much, just because we have so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
But when we start it back up again, it'll be on either our Instagram, shokunin.rc, or the Haven City Market Instagram. And you just buy your tickets through Eventbrite and just join us day of.
Awesome. And if you're out there in the audience, if you're interested in taking the sushi making class, you can email us at Food Fest Live, and we can get you all those show notes and those links to get you connected. Speaking of sushi making, I know that Daniel has got a treat for us today. He's actually going to show us how to properly fillet a fish and make sure that it's prepared for guests. So we're actually going to turn the camera over to Daniel, and he's going to walk us through that step by step.
Let me grab that out of the refrigerator.
Okay. Awesome. I want to check in with the audience. So how's the food? And if you're on mute, go ahead and take yourselves off. I want to hear, how is it? What's your favorite? The nigiri? What do you think about your first omakase experience? Don't be shy. Take yourselves off mute. We want to hear from you. You are our community. And I see some folks trying to come off mute. If you don't want to share comments, go ahead and drop your comment in the chat box. Let us know what you think of it so far. We're really excited. And Daniel's actually going to prepare the demo right now. Hang tight.
Hey, which ones are spicy? Something's like kicking in my mouth.
I think this is spicy tuna, Kevin.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Okay, so real quick, while Daniel's getting prepared, I want to hit everyone with some trivia. So Chef Daniel and just chefs in general, I want to ask the audience, where do you think chefs like to eat, and in particularly Daniel, when they're off the clock? Put your answer in the comments and there'll be a prize for the winner. And hint, it's not high-end fine dining. Think quick service, think fast food. We got any answers?
I have a feeling Andrew is going to win this one because I had the same answer. But I will go ahead and name off all the cool, fun guesses, okay? And then Daniel will reveal it. But so far, you guys, I have real easy, okay? One guy claims that it's a simple answer, that it's In-N-Out Burger. Okay, then we have McDonald's, we have pizza, taco, Chick-fil-A, Five Guys, Chipotle, Yoshinoya. So, Daniel, did any of these guys answer that question, or is it completely different?
No, close, but I do love all those restaurants too.
You hit all the good spots, but yeah,
yeah.
tell us what's your favorite food and restaurant?
My favorite would probably be the Mexican pizza from Taco Bell.
That's Chef Danny
super
for you,
high-end.
short and sweet. Okay, so we've got the demo up here for you, and we're actually going to get up and close so you can see the knife work, and Chef's going to walk us through step by step how to properly do it. So take it away.
All right. So what I have here is a Spanish mackerel. First thing I'm going to show you is how to pick your fish. So when you get a fish, if you look at the eyes, see how that's nice and clear? You don't want murky, cloudy eyes. Also, when you look at the gills, this one doesn't have gills. I already took it out. But you want to see a bright pink, nice red color. You don't want to see it like a dark color or brownish color. That's oxidation in the gills, which means it's pretty old. Another good way to tell is if you have your fish, just lightly, just press it down with your finger. See how it comes back up. If it stays down, it's pretty old. So this fish doesn't really have scales. I cleaned it when I first got it delivered today because I don't want to leave the guts in there and have it start stinking. So I cleaned it. I popped a little napkin in there. So if you look, nice and clean inside. We took the gills out. This one's ready to fillet. All right. So when you fillet, it's most important to just kind of finesse it. Look for the bones with your knife. Don't try to force your knife through. You don't want to cut through the flesh. Easiest way to do it at home, I cut down the gill, I cut down the belly, and then there's this bone right here and a bone right on top. You're just going to follow those bones. It's okay to come through more than once and just go all the way back to the spine. And then you're going to come up the back, do the same thing. All the way down. Now you're going to want to cut down where the head is. I like to take this fin, follow it, come right under this fin, follow it straight down to where I cut. And this fish, not a lot of fish have this, but this fish has a spine right on the back of it, on the outside of it. So it's a little bit more difficult. So I like to just cut that off. Then I slide my knife in and I just follow the spine all the way to the head. Just like that, it come off nice and clean. Got this fillet. I'm gonna put that to the side. We're gonna take this fillet And now we got the rib bones right here. And this is also the stomach lining. So we want to get rid of that. We'll just hold it down, come in with the point of the knife, and just release those bones off the flesh like that. And then I'm gonna follow those bones with my knife right up. Lay it nice and thin as you can. You don't want to waste any flesh. So just as thin as you can. Once you get to the bottom, this is a fat lining. We're just gonna trim that right off. Just like that. Mostly all fish have a line of bones going right down the middle. You can feel it from if you come from the head down to the toe. You can use any tweezers. Usually I have fish tweezers. I didn't bring it with me. So I'm just gonna use a regular pair of tweezers.
Chef Daniel, remind us again, this is a mackerel, correct?
It's a Spanish mackerel.
And what type of knife is that? Is that a Japanese knife or a Western knife? Which knives do you recommend personally?
This is a Japanese knife. To be honest, it doesn't matter what knife you use, as long as you got a real good edge on it. I personally prefer Dowel Strong. It has really good, nice hard steel. Very affordable. I buy it on Amazon. They run about 150 bucks per knife, but I like them. They look really nice too.
Good deal. I don't know if this applies, but I know when I'm preparing fish, one of the things I struggle with is getting the skin off. Do you know of any tips or tricks to easily for people at home that are preparing fish in general?
Yeah.
To get the skin off without just butchering it?
So when you get the skin off, you're gonna want to come to the tail, come in, hold your knife nice and flat up against the cutting board. Don't push down too much. With a little bit of angle, you're gonna grab the tail and you're gonna pull the skin, not the knife. So you leave your knife as is and you pull the skin. Okay?
That's awesome. Okay.
That applies to mostly all fish. Unfortunately, it does not apply to this fish.
It applies to the one fish for demo today, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So
But
these fish, they have very, very thin skins. So what I'm gonna do is essentially just peel it back. Sorry, I cut my thumb, so I can't hold it too well, but still grip it. So I'm just gonna take the back of my knife, lay it flat up against the cutting board, and just peel the skin right off. So same concept. I'm holding it at an angle. The blade is flat against the cutting board, and I'm just peeling it. So like I said earlier, this one has the spine on the back. So once I get about here, I'm gonna flip it over. I'm just gonna cut that off. So if you look, it has this little spine thing.
Yeah.
So this is a Spanish mackerel fillet right here. Now there's a couple ways to do this. Normally, if I were gonna use it for sushi, I would just cut it straight down. Maybe put some knife inserts in it. But for the intents of showing you guys how fish is normally cut, I'm gonna cut it like I would sushi. So you're gonna come in with the knife at about a 45-degree angle. And so this controls how long the pieces of sushi come out. This controls how thick the sushi. So I'm gonna make my first cut, come straight down. Never push down, just let your knife do the work. Just nice, easy, long strokes. So this is really short, right? So I'm gonna make it a little bit longer by giving it more angle this way. And just cut it nice and straight, just like that.
That's beautiful.
Hey, Chef Daniel, while you're cutting, you know, there's a lot of school of thoughts, right? The different philosophies in sushi masters. Some will say that the secret is the rice. Some would say, obviously, the secret is in the fish. And others will say, no, it's in the actual seaweed. Which philosophy do you subscribe to, or do you even do that at all?
You know what? Personally, I would say the rice is one of the most important, but it's a mixture. I mean, you can't use really good rice and then just use the cheapest seaweed you can find. And vice versa. You can't use really good seaweed and just use cheap rice. It's a good balance of everything. You want to just make sure that everything is pretty good. I mean, but for average people, you don't really get many choices anyways. If you're going to go to the market, you either get one type of rice or one type of seaweed. Surprisingly, like the seaweed that we use, not for this the to-go boxes, but for the dine-in, the hand rolls, we use this very special seaweed. That one costs about $1 for one piece of seaweed. But the rice, we use pretty average rice. We just really focus on preparing that rice the right way.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so Chef, you and I were talking about the chef experience, and there's so many tools and tricks, gastronomy, new innovations, food lately. Tell me, what are some newer machines or things that you've seen that have made the sushi making process a lot easier? What's your favorite, and which do you prefer, the traditional or more the new age approach?
We employ a lot of different machines. We have a spherificator, which basically creates little balls of artificial caviar. We can use that to make like ponzu spears, or we like to do a lime shiso spear, things like that. Excuse me. We also use a smoker, so a handheld smoker to infuse some smoke in some of our fish. I know there's a lot more technology for bigger restaurants. They have balls or rice machines that spit out balls of rice, the perfect size. So you just put a piece of fish on it. They also have machines that will spit out seaweed with the rice already on it for them to roll it. We don't like to use any of those because we like to have full control over the amount of rice and things like that. But yeah, that's about it for the machines.
That's awesome. I know that there's a lot of sushi lovers out there, and one thing that I'm always seeing that everybody wants to know is, if I'm a sushi lover and I eat a lot of fish, how does, mercury levels play into it? Can you kind of walk us through that, or maybe debunk that myth, if there's any truth to that?
Yeah, I mean, mercury levels in fish definitely could be a concern, but you would have to eat a whole lot of it, and not all fish have high levels of mercury. For instance, salmon doesn't have a whole lot. Tuna has a lot of mercury, so they suggest that pregnant women stay away from fish like that, like tuna. They're actually allowed to eat salmon and some other fish. It's just doctors don't really say it because they don't want to give you misinformation and have you go out and eat it and get sick. But even tuna, you would have to eat about 2 pounds a day by yourself to get mercury poisoning.
Awesome. Okay. How's everyone doing out there? Carrie, anything in the comments? Any questions for the chef?
Yeah, man. Andrew says, Daniel, chef, what's your favorite roll to eat, and what's your favorite to actually make or present to your people?
That's a hard one. It kind of depends on what I have for the day. For instance, my favorite fish changes constantly. Big eye tuna is definitely one of my favorites. Rolls, I don't know. I only eat rolls about once a year. But when I eat things like crunchy rolls and things like that, where you put eel sauce and all that. We don't sell that at our restaurant or at this restaurant, but I do enjoy it once in a while, just barely. To prepare for my guests, I do love nigiri the best. I feel like it's the best way to eat sushi. Just because it's like the perfect amount of fish, perfect amount of rice, and if it's done well and your chef is preparing it for you well, they should have a really good balance of flavors to accompany that fish without overpowering it with sauces and things like that.
That's great.
Love that, man. So with that, we want to actually go into some B-roll of Daniel in action. It's a beautifully done video that we want to share with you guys. Okay, so if you guys take it away, go ahead.
Okay, that was amazing. Show of hands, who dropped in the comments? Let me know. What did you think? Does this make you want to sign up for Chef Daniel's next sushi making class? What are your thoughts? I thought that was amazing. I mean, I'm kind of, this inner sushi making chef self is kind of coming out, and I'm kind of wishing I had skills like him, but it's crazy. So I want to shift over into kind of letting everyone know, obviously, Chef Daniel, he is just brilliant in the sushi making space, but let's learn a little bit more about Daniel on the personal self. I actually talked to him and he recommended a really good book to me. It's probably one of his favorite books. Can you tell a little bit about that to the audience? It's called Leaders Eat Less.
So Leaders Eat Less is a book about, basically it's a leadership book, but it's based off the U.S. military. It's based off the fundamental policy where in the military, leaders eat last. And it's to kind of show that, it's a group, and if somebody doesn't eat, it should be the leaders. So they should take care of their people, make sure that their people are happy and comfortable before worrying about their own comforts and happiness. Yeah, that's basically it.
Chef, were you in the military? Andrew asks.
No, I was not, unfortunately.
Okay. And no, that's great. But Kevin, don't worry, because Kevin's question was, honestly, I just want to eat more sushi. But Daniel said, leaders eat less, not leaders eat less. Okay, so
yes.
You're good. Don't worry about that, all right? Don't worry, Kevin.
Yeah, and we will make sure, if anyone wants to check that book out, we'll make sure to get you that info. Just go ahead and head on over to Food Fest Live. We'll get you taken care of. So Daniel, I asked him, who's his favorite celebrity chef? Who does he look up to? Because we look up to chefs like Daniel. So who does Chef Daniel look up to?
His name is Bok. He's a Korean chef, older gentleman who cooks Koreanized Chinese dishes. It's just he's one of those people who go above and beyond and really perfect each dish. He doesn't specialize in one dish. He has many dishes that he just does really well.
That's awesome. Once again, his name is Bok. Okay. For those of you who want to check it out, we'll make sure to have that in the show notes as well. So we're coming to the end of our program, but I just want to throw out some last minute things. Chef Daniel, Shokunin, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And if not LA, where do you see yourself expanding?
You know what? I don't have a specific area in mind. I want to keep Shokunin to the suburbs and, avoid kind of major cities, just to keep with the concept of bringing really high quality, affordable sushi. If I had a choice, I would go to maybe Arizona or another state. But yeah, that's basically where I see it.
That's awesome. Okay, well, that's it from us. Again, thank you so much to Chef Daniel for his time today. Please go check out Shokunin out in Rancho Cucamonga. If you're interested, hit us up at Food Fest Live for future sushi making classes. We got a ton of other events lined up. Thank you to all the attendees. Support local businesses, support local restaurants, and thank you so much for being part of the Food Fest Live community. Woo! Thank you. We'll see you very soon.